Time. It rules every breath we take, every rise of the sun, every story of human history. Yet, it is also the greatest prison we have ever known. We march forward, step by step, second by second, and never, at least so far, have we been able to turn back. But what if we could? What if you could walk into yesterday, touch the hand of a loved one you lost, or witness history unfold before your eyes? It sounds impossible. And yet science, history, and even human imagination whisper that it might not be as far-fetched as we think. The idea of traveling to the past is not just the work of science fiction writers or dreamers. It is stitched deep into the fabric of our scientific theories, our myths, and even our recorded history. And when you begin to examine these threads carefully, you'll see something extraordinary. Maybe, just maybe, the door to the past isn't locked forever. Today, we will explore this question with open hearts and open minds. From Einstein's theories of relativity, to ancient myths of God's bending time, to the very real possibility hidden in black holes and wormholes, we'll uncover whether traveling into the past is a fantasy or a future waiting to happen. The ancient desire to return long before modern science, humans looked at the stars and dreamed of bending time. Ancient Egyptians believed that Ra, the sun god, reset the cosmic clock every dawn, allowing life to renew itself. In Hindu mythology, the gods and sages could travel vast spans of time, where one day in heaven was equal to 1,000 years on earth, in Greece. Kronos was not only the god of time, but a force that consumed everything, including the past. These myths weren't mere stories. They were reflections of a truth we all feel. Time is strange, slippery, and perhaps not as solid as the ticking hands of a clock suggest. If ancient people could dream of time's flexibility, maybe it's because deep down, humanity has always sensed something modern science would one day prove. Time is not fixed. In the early 20th century, Albert Einstein shattered the old belief that time was absolute. His theory of relativity told us that time and space are woven together like threads in a single cosmic fabric space-time. When you move faster, time moves differently for you than it does for someone standing still. If you orbit a black hole, where gravity is unimaginably strong, time slows to a crawl. Hours for you might be centuries for the rest of the universe. This wasn't speculation. It was tested, proven, measured. Astronauts in orbit around Earth already experience tiny fractions of time dilation. Their clocks tick differently from ours on the ground. So here's the haunting question. If time can stretch, could it also bend back on itself? Mathematically, Einstein's equations allow for loops in time. Closed time-like curves, as scientists call them. Imagine walking forward in a circle, only to end up where you started, not just in space, but in time. This is where theory collides with imagination. It suggests that the past isn't lost, it might just be hidden behind a wall of physics we can't yet understand how to break through. The universe itself may hold the clues. Consider wormholes, tunnels through space-time, predicted by Einstein's own equations. If one end of a wormhole could be accelerated near the speed of light, time would flow differently at each opening. Step into one, and you may step out into the past. Even stranger, some physicists believe black holes, those cosmic monsters that devour stars, might be natural time machines. We've only just begun to scratch the surface of what lies inside them. Could their singularities fold time back on itself? Could they connect yesterday to today? It sounds impossible, and yet the math says it might not be. The question isn't whether time travel is possible. The question is whether humanity will ever be brave or desperate enough to test it. Part 1. The dream of turning back time. Imagine this. You're sitting alone in your room, lights dim, heart heavy. You look at an old photo, someone you lost, someone you wish you could talk to again. If only you could go back, fix things, warn them, or just say, "I love you." That longing, that deep ache to turn back time is something almost every human has felt. But what if? What if I told you? Maybe, just maybe, it's not impossible. The idea of time travel, especially to the past, has haunted human imagination for thousands of years. From the myths of Hindu gods, who could step through time like a hallway, to Einstein's wild equations, to secret experiments whispered about in dark corners of history. In this video, we'll take a journey through science, myth, and mystery to ask one bold question. Is it really possible to travel into the past? Time isn't what you think it is. We grow up believing it's a straight line birth, life, death, one second after another, unstoppable. But Albert Einstein shattered that idea in 1905. He said time is woven into space itself. It's like a giant cosmic fabric, he called it. Space-time. And here's the mind-bending part. If you move fast enough, or get close to something incredibly heavy like a black hole, time slows down for you. This isn't science fiction. It's called time dilation, and it's been proven. Astronauts have literally aged slower than people on Earth because they're moving so fast. And if we can slow time down, could we ever reverse it? Scientists like Kip Thorne and Michio Kaku believe the key might be wormholes. Imagine the universe as a flat sheet. Now fold it so two distant points touch. A wormhole is like a tunnel that connects them. If one end of the wormhole is moving, say, near a black hole, it could create a time difference between the two ends. That's a theoretical way to travel into the past. But here's the catch. We've never found a real wormhole. And even if we did, would going back break the universe? This is the famous grandfather paradox. If you went back and stopped your grandfather from meeting your grandmother, you'd never be born. So how could you go back in the first place? Some scientists think the universe would simply prevent that from happening. Others say time might branch into a parallel universe, like a fork in the road. In the Mahabharata, a king named Ryavada travels to meet the god Brahma. When he returns, thousands of years have passed on Earth. His palace is gone. His people are dust. He stepped outside of Tamand, came back to a world that no longer remembered him. In Japanese legend, a fisherman saves a turtle and is taken to a magical underwater palace. He stays what feels like a few days. When he returns home, 300 years have passed. You might think this is all just myth and theory, but let me tell you a story, one of the most controversial in modern history. In 1943, the U.S. Navy allegedly conducted an experiment to make a warship invisible, the USS Eldridge. Witnesses say it vanished, teleported, and when it returned, sailors were fused into the ship's metal. So others were gone forever. The government denies it happened. But the eyewitnesses tell another story. We don't just dream of time travel to satisfy curiosity. We dream of it to fix what's broken, to say what we didn't say, to save who we couldn't save. And maybe, just maybe, time isn't a straight line. Maybe it's a circle. Maybe the past is closer than we think. In the next part, we'll go even deeper: ancient technologies, secret time machines, and the most convincing time travel cases in modern history. Stay with me. This is just the beginning. Picture the vast libraries of Alexandria before the flames consumed them. Millions of scrolls holding the knowledge of entire civilizations. It's gone. What if somehow we could step back in time, walk through those marble halls, and save even one shelf of scrolls? What if we could whisper to the librarian, make copies, hide them? The world will need this knowledge. The desire to return to the past is not just curiosity, it's grief. It is loss. It is the human heart begging for second chances. Science tells us time travel to the past is dangerous, maybe impossible, but history whispers to us in different tones. Ancient myths are filled with stories of gods and mortals stepping into another age. In Hindu texts, there is the tale of King Ryavada, who visits the creator god Brahma in a higher realm. When he returns, countless ages have passed on Earth. His world is gone. His kingdom is dust. His people are memories. Was this simply mythology, or the earliest attempt to explain the strange bending of time? Modern physicists say this story echoes the truth. Time is not absolute. Einstein shattered the illusion of time as a steady river. Instead, he showed us it bends, stretches, and twists around gravity. If time can bend, then maybe, just maybe, it can fold back on itself. Think of a piece of paper. Draw two dots, point A and point B, to go from A to B. Normally, you walk across the line. But what if you fold the paper, pressing the dots together? Suddenly, A and B touch. What once seemed like a long journey becomes a single step. Could the past and present touch in ways we cannot yet see? And here lies the haunting question. If the past is still there, waiting like a shadow, could we go back not just in theory, but in reality? Physicists argue about closed time-like curves, wormholes that connect one point in space-time to another. The equations suggest it's possible. But every possibility comes with a cost. If you go back, do you risk unraveling everything? If you save one person, do you doom another? If you alter one choice, do you erase yourself? History is a heavy thing to carry. We dream of returning to stop tragedies, wars, plagues, disasters. But deep down, maybe what we long for is something simpler. To see the face of someone we lost. To hear their voice once more. To hold their hand for just a moment longer. That is the emotional weight of time travel, not science fiction, but the aching truth of human hearts. And so, every culture, every century, returns to the same question. Can the past be reached? Some scientists say yes. In the mathematics of the universe, backward time travel is not forbidden. Others warn it is impossible, locked away forever. But perhaps the real truth is not whether it is possible, or whether humanity could ever bear the responsibility of such power. Part 3. The Golden Age of Science and the Unraveling of Time. The Middle Ages gave us legends, parables, and the seeds of an idea that time itself might be bent. But the modern world demanded more than stories. It demanded proof. The 19th century was an age of restless curiosity, where every corner of the universe was being charted, measured, and tamed. And yet hidden beneath the triumphs of engines and electricity lay a far stranger conquest. The conquest of time itself. It began with the humble ticking of a clock. For centuries, humanity had measured time with sundials, water clocks, and church bells. But now, with railways crisscrossing nations, synchronization became vital. A train that left London at noon must arrive in Edinburgh at exactly the right time. More disaster would strike. The need for precision awakened an obsession. What is time? Is it absolute, flowing like a river beyond human control? Or is it something we create, a fragile illusion agreed upon to make the world run smoothly? And then came a young man in Switzerland, working in a patent office, who shattered all certainty. Albert Einstein was no ordinary thinker. In 1905, his special theory of relativity declared that time is not universal. It bends, stretches, and shrinks depending on how fast you move. To travel near the speed of light, Einstein said, is to step into another world where time itself slows. Imagine twins. One remains on Earth, while the other rides a spacecraft close to light speed. When the traveler returns, they are younger than their sibling. This is not science fiction. It is science fact. Confirmed again and again by atomic clocks carried on airplanes, ticking more slowly than their earthbound counterparts. But relativity had another gift, one far stranger than anyone expected. If time could slow, could it also reverse? Could a sufficiently powerful engine, something beyond rockets, beyond trains, beyond anything humanity had built, carry us backward into the ages of kings, knights, or even the dawn of civilization? Einstein himself hesitated. He called the past a stubborn thing, one not easily undone, yet the equations hinted otherwise. Time, like space, could form loops, pathways that circle back upon themselves. In the right conditions, the past might not be closed at all, it might be waiting, silent and eternal, for someone to walk its corridors once more. Soon, new voices entered the stage. Mathematician Kurt Gödel, a close friend of Einstein, discovered a shocking solution to relativity's equations, a universe that rotates, not just in space but in time. In such a cosmos, one could, in theory, step outside the normal flow of moments and return to yesterday, last year, or even the dawn of humanity. Gödel's model became infamous. It was mathematically sound, yet it clashed with our deepest instincts about reality. If the past could be revisited, what would stop us from changing it? From altering battles, saving lives, or rewriting history? And so, the paradoxes were born. Most famous is the grandfather paradox. Imagine traveling to the past and preventing your own grandfather from meeting your grandmother. Without their union, you would never be born. And without you, there is no traveler to make the journey. Time collapses into contradiction. Some physicists insist such loops make time travel impossible. But others whisper that the paradox only means something far stranger, that reality itself might branch, splitting into countless worlds. In one, you remain unborn. In another, history continues unchanged. And in another still, you stand face to face with your grandfather, knowing you can never truly alter what must be. To travel into the past, then, is not simply to visit history. It is to risk stepping into a labyrinth of destiny, where every action ripples outward, echoing across all of existence. And yet, as impossible as it sounds, experiments continue to push us closer to the truth. At particle accelerators, scientists smash atoms together at unimaginable speeds, bending the fabric of reality itself. In the strange world of quantum mechanics, particles seem to move backward and forward in time, as if mocking our human obsession with before and after. What if these tiny particles are the proof we've been waiting for? Proof that time is not locked, but alive, breathing, and open to exploration. Part 4. The science that dares to bend time. Imagine standing at the edge of a great river. The water flows forward, endlessly, toward the sea. This is how we usually imagine time, always flowing in one direction, never pausing, never turning back. But what if hidden deep within the fabric of reality, there are eddies and whirlpools in that river, spots where the flow bends? And suddenly, the past is not so far away. For centuries, poets dreamed, philosophers speculated, and storytellers imagined. But now, physics itself whispers, maybe, just maybe, time is not as rigid as we once thought. Albert Einstein, in 1905, gave us the first real clue. His theory of relativity revealed something shocking. Time is not fixed. It bends, stretches, depends on how fast you move and how close you are to gravity's pull. The faster you go, the slower your time ticks, compared to someone standing still. This is not just theory, it's been proven. Astronauts on the International Space Station age just a tiny fraction slower than people on Earth. A few milliseconds. But real, we already know. Motion can change time. But this is only the doorway. Einstein's later theory, general relativity, gave us an even stranger gift. Massive objects like stars and black holes don't just warp space, they warp time itself. If you could stand near the edge of a black hole, time would crawl for you, while the universe outside races ahead. And here lies the first key. If gravity and speed can stretch time, perhaps they can bend it backward. Perhaps, under the right conditions, the past is not lost, it's waiting, hidden behind the folds of reality. Scientists call them closed, time-like curves. In plain words, loops in space-time. Circles where, if you enter, you might step out not just in another place, but in another time. Physicist Kurt Gödel, a close friend of Einstein, shocked the world when he discovered mathematical solutions showing this exact possibility. Universes, where time loops back on itself. His equations suggested the past might be reachable. And though Einstein admired his work, he grew uneasy. What? If time could bend backward, what would that mean for free will, for history, for the very nature of reality? Even today, modern science dares to imagine. Wormholes, bridges between distant points in space-time, could, in theory, act as time tunnels. If one mouth of a wormhole experienced time differently than the other, stepping through might take you not just across the galaxy, but back into yesterday. Of course, building such a wormhole would demand energy beyond anything humanity has ever dreamed of, perhaps more than the sun itself could provide. But still, the math whispers, it is possible. But here's the deeper question. If we truly could go back, would we dare? Imagine holding in your hand the power to return to the moment before you made your greatest mistake. To stand beside someone you loved before they were gone. To change just one decision, one step, one heartbeat in the past. Would you do it? Or would you be too afraid of what might unravel? History warns us with paradoxes, the grandfather paradox. Where going back to change something might erase your very existence. Cause and effect could collapse. The universe itself might rebel against tampering. And yet another possibility whispers. Maybe the past cannot be changed. Maybe traveling into yesterday would only create a new branch, a new timeline, a parallel history, where your actions echo but the original remains untouched. A multiverse of infinite pasts, all waiting, all real. Is time travel into the past possible? The answer may be this: not today, not with our fragile technology. But in the equations of the universe, in the deepest mathematics of space-time, the door is not locked. It waits, silent, patient. The question is not if it is possible, but whether humanity will ever find the courage to open it. Part 5. The doorway within. What if the real doorway to the past was never in a machine or a wormhole or some hidden equation scribbled in Einstein's notes? What if the past lives inside us? Every memory you carry, every scar on your hand, every wrinkle earned with time, they are living fossils of yesterday. When you hold your grandmother's necklace or run your fingers across the faded pages of a diary, aren't you, in some way, traveling back? Science may tell us that paradoxes prevent us from freely walking into yesterday. Historians may argue that the past is frozen, untouchable. But emotion breaks those rules. Love, pain, nostalgia. They let us feel time folding in on itself. And here is the mystery. If the universe is truly woven from energy, and energy can never be destroyed, then maybe nothing is ever really gone. Maybe every moment that has ever happened is still out there, shimmering in the fabric of time, waiting to be touched. Could we one day build the technology to unlock those moments, like opening a book to a chapter we thought was closed? Or maybe, just maybe, we already do it every time we dream. Because in dreams, the laws of physics bend. In dreams, we have walked among those we lost, touched their hands, heard their voices. Was that imagination? Or a glimpse through a doorway science has not yet measured? Think about it. If time travel ever does become real in the future, then isn't it possible that someone, somewhere, has already used it? And maybe they're here right now watching us wonder. We crave the past because deep down, we are afraid of losing it. But maybe nothing is lost. Maybe time is not a straight road, but an endless circle. Maybe in ways we cannot yet explain, the past is still happening, right now. And the question is not, can we travel there? But when will we realize we never truly left?